we are rolling up our sleeves and getting down to the nitty-gritty, measuring poverty and inequality. Now you might be thinking, isn't this just about counting dollars and cents? But it's so much more than that. Measuring poverty and inequality is like trying to capture a complex, multi-dimensional puzzle in numbers and statistics. It's about understanding the lived experiences of people, the barriers they face, and the opportunities they lack. Beyond the poverty line, a multifaceted problem. First things first, let's talk about poverty. We often hear about the poverty line, which is the minimum income level needed to meet basic needs like food, shelter, and clothing. But poverty isn't just about lacking money. It's about lack of access. Poverty can mean not having access to clean water, sanitation, healthcare, education, or even basic infrastructure like roads and electricity. Social exclusion. Poverty can mean being excluded from social networks, political participation, and cultural activities. It can mean facing discrimination and stigma. Vulnerability. Poverty can mean being more vulnerable to shocks like natural disasters, economic crisis, or conflict. It can mean living in constant fear of losing your job, your home, or even your life. Measuring poverty, a toolbox of indicators. So, how do we measure something as complex as poverty? There is no single magic number, but we have a toolbox of indicators that can help us paint a more complete picture. Income-based measures. These are the most common measures of poverty, but they have their limitations. They don't capture the full range of deprivations that people experience, and they can be misleading in contexts where people rely on subsistence farming or bartering. Multidimensional Poverty Index, or MPI. This index looks at multiple dimensions of poverty, including health, education, and living standards. It gives us a more nuanced understanding of poverty than income alone. Participatory poverty assessments, or PPAs. These involve asking people directly about their experience of poverty and what it means to them. This can provide valuable insights that might not be captured by traditional measures. Inequality, the gap between the haves and have-nots. Now, let's talk about inequality. It's not just about the gap between the rich and poor countries. It's also about the gap between the richest and the poorest people within countries. Inequality can manifest in many ways. Income inequality. The richest 1% of the world's population owns more wealth than the rest of the world combined. This stark inequality has serious consequences for social mobility, political stability, and even economic growth. Wealth inequality. This is the unequal distribution of assets like land, property, and financial investments. Wealth inequality is often even more extreme than income inequality, and it can be passed down from generation to generation. Inequality of opportunities. This refers to the unequal access that people have to education, healthcare, jobs, and other opportunities based on factors like their race, gender, ethnicity, or socioeconomic status. Measuring inequality. Gini coefficients and beyond. To measure inequality, we use tools like the Gini coefficient, which ranges from 0, which is perfect equality, to 1, perfect inequality. But like poverty, inequality is a complex issue that can't be captured by a single number. We also need to look at things like the Palmar ratio. This compares the income shares of the richest 10% of the population to the poorest 40%. It's a good way to measure inequality at the extremes. The Gender Inequality Index, or GII. This looks at disparities between men and women in areas like health, education, and economic participation. The Social Mobility Index. This measures how easy or difficult it is for people to move up the socioeconomic ladder. Measuring poverty and inequality is important, but it's not just about crunching numbers. It's about understanding the lives and experiences of real people. It's about identifying the barriers they face and the opportunities they lack. And it's about using the knowledge to design policies and programs that can make a real difference in their lives.